Thank you, Sheena. Such a beautiful day going on. Look at all these buttons pushed here. I was actually I almost forgot to call Sylvia this morning. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
I am doing great this morning.
Sylvia Thompson is who we're talking to, the El Dorado Promise Director, and I guess it is that time of the year again when students are getting ready. We have Promise Week coming up, so tell us when that is, and give us a little idea about what Promise Week really is.
Okay, well, actually, we are celebrating Promise Week this week at in El Dorado Public Schools. This is the Promise Week is basically a celebration of a celebration of the announcement of the El Dorado Promise. The El Dorado Promise was announced in the EHS gym on January the 22nd in 2007. So this is the 16th year of celebrating the El Dorado Promise. So there are things going on all over in the different schools. Every school kind of has their own way of celebrating the El Dorado Promise. Here at the high school, we'll be hosting a college fair with 12 different colleges coming in on Thursday. So all of our juniors will get to go through our college fair. We're having a Promise trivia a contest every morning about information about the promise and students knowing and getting prizes for answering that. We are treating our teachers to promise Cokes from Sonic this afternoon as a thank you for all the hard work they do to get our students ready for college and take the El Dorado Promise.
And I know they're ready for that, aren't they?
Yes.
They, everybody likes nice fresh.
They'll be surprised when they're called down to have a picture made, and instead they get a Sonic drink.
Oh, there'll be some smiles on some teachers' faces. So have you seen over the years with the El Dorado Promise, which is such a fabulous thing? What was it, $50 million an endowment by Murphy Oil Corporation? That is, well, first of all, it's just incredible. And have you seen a continued interest in that? I know parents like it, obviously. You think the students are kind of getting an idea of what a great deal they're getting?
You know, it's one of those kind of unusual things is that the El Dorado Promise has been around longer than any of these students have been in school.
Oh,
So,
that's true.
the class of 2020 was the first group that had been all the way through public. In other words, it was announced when they were in kindergarten.
Oh, isn't that
Um,
something?
and that was a class of 2020. So, these students don't think anything. They just think it's normal.
Yeah,
That they just think it is no, and it is. And I mean, it is a part of the culture of El Dorado Public Schools. Is that
absolutely.
it's not if you're going to college, it's where are you going to college, and make your decision. We've sent over 3,200 El Dorado High School graduates to college with the Promise.
Wow.
They've gone to 163 different colleges, 36 states. We actually added a state this year that I wasn't sure we would ever get on the Promise map, North Dakota.
Hmm. And which
We have
school is that?
Minot State. I had to look up how to pronounce the name of that college.
Well, that's great though. That's fabulous.
It
Uh,
is. It is.
and it's a wonderful gift, the El Dorado Promise from the El Dorado Public Schools and Murphy Oil Corporation, because I've got I can't believe I have a granddaughter who's going to college, and she's on the Promise, and boy, does it help.
Yes, it does.
Oh my
It
goodness.
truly does. It does. I am one of the things we're doing this week too is we have actually on our campus 9 El Dorado Promise scholars who are now teachers, which is just amazing to me.
Isn't
That's so
that
cool.
something?
There are more in the district, but here on the El Dorado High School campus we have 9. We
Wow.
also have 5 or 6 parents whose students who their children received the El Dorado Promise. And so I sent out an email asking them to talk to their students about their experiences with the Promise, and the parents answered yes before the teachers did.
They know a value. Uh,
Yes, they really and truly the
yeah,
parents. I think,
we got this from, there was another place that had done something similar to this, somewhere up north. I can't remember where it was. but
Oh well, Kalamazoo, Michigan was the
yes,
we call that group the grandmother of us all.
that's
Yeah,
right.
Kalamazoo, Michigan announced theirs in 2006. So they've been around for a long time too.
So have you noticed other places trying to do this or doing
Oh
this?
gracious, yes. Oh yes, absolutely. There are between 100 and 125 what they call promise communities.
Hmm.
There's a loosely formed organization called PromiseNet, and prior to COVID, we met every year. Um, COVID kind of put a kink in our plans, so
Mm.
I think our next conference won't. But it's a gathering of all the different promise communities who are established and those that are looking for best practices so they can establish programs. It's just a really wonderful sharing of information that we try to get together and talk about. What's really unique about that PromiseNet community and the Promise movement is that everyone is very unique. They are really fashioned to work for that community. Just like the El Dorado Promise. Now, we are one of the few in that entire group that allows our students to go out of state.
Hmm.
That's kind of a rare thing. Most, you have to go to a state school in your state kind of thing, or you go to a particular college that's near you. But when the El Dorado Promise was established, we already had about 10 years of documentation from senior exit interviews, El Dorado High School senior exit interviews, and discovered from that about 20% of our students go out of state to school every year, to college every year, and that was pre-promise. And so they didn't want to limit it to just Arkansas because we've got, we are like 5 hours from Fayetteville, but we're also 5 hours from Ole Miss, and we're 5 hours
Hmm.
for colleges, and we're an hour from Louisiana Tech. So to limit that would just not have been in the best interest of the students. So we allow our students to go to colleges, and what's kind of crazy about that is we're still running about 20% of our students will go out of state every year. So
Hasn't changed.
that is still holding true.
Yeah. Well, and that's great because you're right. There are, because of where we're situated, Fayetteville is farther away than, SAU, Louisiana
Yes,
Tech, Grambling, all these fabulous colleges, and
absolutely.
so it's really it's a great deal. It's just like the typical El Dorado community. It seems like there's always a good thing going on, and then they take it a step further and make it just even better.
Yes,
And
yes.
the El
I
Dorado
think
Promise is certainly proof of that. So I guess so. All the students now are making their the seniors, I guess, are making their. Well, I guess this would be like juniors, wouldn't it? Who's making their decision now on the colleges? Is it
Well,
seniors?
seniors are making their decisions. Most of them, I do individual senior interviews with every senior to look at their application for the promise and talk about where they're going and next steps and what they're doing. And most have made the decision. A large number have already applied. At this point, a lot of our seniors are looking at housing options. They're into
Yeah.
the room and board phase and those kind of things, and figuring out roommates and things of that nature. Um, so that's kind of where we are. But the reason we do a fall senior college fair, and we usually do it in our outdoor pavilion area. Because that fall is when those seniors really need to get serious and talk to the colleges, and many have already applied, and they have questions they ask of the college recruiters. In the spring, we hit up our juniors because they are the group that needs to be looking next.
Yeah,
The senior year goes so fast.
it
Oh my
does.
gosh,
It really
it goes
does.
so fast, and so
So many
you really
things.
need to go into that having a pretty good idea of, what at least your top two schools are, and have already, got applied, know if you're going to get in with your ACT scores or your GPA. So,
That's
yeah,
great.
we tried to get them. We tried to get them ready.
And you're doing a great job. I want you to stay on the phone for me just a minute here. And by the way, if you missed all this, this will be on the podcast page on accessarcla.com, so you can go back and check that out. Sylvia, thank you very much for having that conversation with us this morning.
Welcome. Be happy to.